welcome to another episode of Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
And this is Season 5, Episode 15.
Or Episode 109 if you're counting.
And I've had to do some weird things with the audio, so hopefully everything is coming through fine. You're being seen through fine. There. You're...
I'm kidding, we're not having audio problems.
We're not having audio. I hope we're not. I'm sure somebody in the room will tell me if we're having audio problems.
I'm just going to say, in honor of this being the first week of Ghost, that I am also part ghost.
Oh well. Oops.
It's like, hey, here's the title. No title. Title. No title.
No big deal.
Yeah, okay.
So, how are things?
Things are...
Oh, wow, that was really fast. That's really boring, in fact.
Yes.
As always, thank you to our Patreon contributors over at patreon.com/MarsGirl. In fact, what happened to my little orange Patreon button? And, like, went poof. It's Oh, there you are. You're right there. Ah,
yay!
Patreon
button.
You guys make this and other shows like it happen every week, and I can't thank you guys enough, especially considering this is soon going to be my full-time job.
3 weeks from now, right?
3 weeks from tomorrow, yeah, is the day I get laid off. Happy layoff.
Woo!
Very happy layoff. I'm very excited about it.
Y'all wish her well when she actually gets laid off, because she wants to be laid off.
I want to be laid off. I really want this. You don't understand. It sucks right now.
You miss doing this full time.
I do miss doing it, because I used to do it full time back when Blip was a reliable thing, and then it became unreliable, and then it became dead. So,
yeah.
You know, the job was necessary, but it's very evil. When you talk about necessary evils, man was this evil.
Yeah.
So evil.
But necessary.
But hopefully not anymore. Hopefully we'll be able to do this all the time, and I'll be able to entertain you guys, and we can hang out all the time and just talk and stuff, because it's fun to talk to everybody. I like it. It's fun.
Yes. Fun. Alright, woo! Woo!
I guess we can go ahead and talk about what our stories are going to be, and then move on from there, right?
I don't know. Yeah. Well, actually, I guess this kind of reminded me, since I'm see-through, we did get to watch the premiere of Ghost, Kamen Rider Ghost this week.
Yes,
I guess we can briefly talk about that. It's there. It's
a little childish, but at least its theme so far makes sense.
Yeah, I'm okay
granted,
with it.
Granted, it is a kid's show.
Yeah, granted, it's a kid's show. As far as, like, effects and things go like that, yeah, I was a little worried about, you know, putting Ghost on wires and then just kind of having him hover over the other suit
dangling
actors.
Very obviously on wires.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Other than that, I didn't really have too much of a problem with it. I definitely like the design, but unfortunately we've already seen in the preview for next week's episode, the thing you were afraid of, the Iguana Ghost Striker, is going to show up.
Like, what the hell even is it?
I don't even know.
That thing's going to bother me.
Well, hopefully they'll do away with it fairly quick. They have to put it in now, because they've already made the toy.
Yeah.
And we've discussed this before. Hopefully the writing is strong enough to where either they can rationalize why it's there, or have it show up, and then never mention it again.
I hope they drop it. I really hope they drop it. In any case, yay Ghost.
Yay Ghost.
I think we can talk about
Looking forward to supporting the merchandise.
I think we can talk about our stories now, though, right? Yes?
Yes.
Yes, let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah, the first story's more up your alley, though.
Yes, in fact, I'm really excited about it. We'll be talking about Ralph Bakshi, who on the 29th, later this month, he's going to be releasing The Last Days of Coney Island, a 22-minute animated short that was funded via Kickstarter. Very excited to be talking about that, and he's excited too, because it's going to be his birthday.
Well, that's good.
Yes, we'll talk about that more later.
Yes. Second story of the evening, hot off the presses today. Gamera's back.
Woo!
He is so back. He is back so hard.
He's back with a vengeance.
With some sort of vengeance coming out of New York City Comic Con. New footage appearing just today of a new Gamera movie project. We're going to talk to you guys about that, and I think we've got the video loaded behind our heads. That way you can see some of this massive carnage that Gamera is wreaking on these other monsters. It's so sweet.
Yes, and then finally, we might have mentioned this briefly before in the past, about a party planner back from PAX Prime who just wanted to have a good time with a Pokemon-themed party to kind of kick off PAX, and then the Pokemon Company wasn't having it. And we're going to talk about this lawsuit that may or may not be unrealistic.
Yeah, because that's a thing that happens in the world of business. You can sue.
Yeah, I mean,
for very, very petty things.
Yeah, and people do it, so
obviously.
We'll be talking about just how petty that may or may not be.
Yes.
Yes.
But that's all later in the show tonight. First up, the follower.
Yes. So get on that.
All right, I'm gonna get on that.
Did a good job working on them. So what do we got?
All right, here we go. So easy news out of the Tokusatsu world. Having to do with Kamen Rider Drive. Of course, Drive has been over for about a week now, and we've already talked to you guys about the announcement of the Chase spin-off movie. Well, now apparently Kamen Rider Mach has his own spin-off novel coming out. In addition.
Probably a light novel.
Definitely going to be a light novel, just like all the other different sort of light novels that have come out before it of the other Heisei writers. That's going to come out in a few months. No real solid details yet on the plot, but it'll probably be like easy, subway reading.
Right.
I'm not expecting too much out of it. The light novels for the writers have notoriously been not that good, with the exception of the double one.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the thing.
I'll take your word for it.
We do actually have some news over on the American Tokusatsu front as far as the Power Rangers reboot movie is concerned. And right here, what we have is a picture of Naomi Scott, who just yesterday was confirmed as being cast as the Pink Ranger in this upcoming reboot movie.
She's fine.
Yeah, she seems alright. Apparently, she had a small part in this recent weekend's blockbuster, The Martian. No word yet on any of the other casting, but as we are hearing, there are other actors and actresses being tested for roles currently, so other casting announcements should be forthcoming very soon. Which
means, really, no other work has been done on this movie, because they're still casting.
Well, the thing about it is they finally started casting.
Yeah.
They've already got...
They've been talking about it for so long now.
Well, now we're finally starting to see something. Once you get casting going, we've already got a director, we've already got writers, there's this supposed... promotional art that's been put out there, take that with a grain of salt for right now. But this is our first solid piece of news that we've had in a while.
Yes.
In addition to that, also coming out of New York City Comic Con, since that's going on right now, and if you guys can't tell, I wish I was there, we've got a look at the new Legacy Blade Blaster from the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers line, which is, of course, their sidearm weapon that could fold up and become a knife. The good thing about it is, one, they've got the correct color scheme now.
That's good.
Because, as everybody knows, the original one had the black there on the barrel when it should have been white. And two, which is nice, they've added the gimmick to where, just like in the show, the blade flips out.
Okay.
You don't have to manually put out this rubber, rubber little shank on the end of the blade. So that's nice. No word yet as to how much that's going to be, but...
Probably gonna be a lot.
Prices are looking at... No, I'm seeing here the manufacturer's suggested retail price is up the butt.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad that's official.
They will charge up the butt for that.
So glad that's official.
Yes. In Ghostbusters news, so of course we've been talking to you guys about the cameos of the movie. Most of the standing actors that are, of course, living from the original movies have all been confirmed for having parts, except for Rick Moranis, as we brought up last week. Well, now this week, we have confirmation that he was, in fact, offered a cameo role, but he turned it down.
Which is to be expected. He's not doing stuff.
Now here's the interesting thing about that story. He did go on to say that he's not completely averse to the idea of getting back into the movies. He just needs the right project to rekindle his interest.
So he's saying this wasn't the right project.
That's basically what he said. Like, I think the direct quote here is, why would I want to do something that harkens back to something I did 30 years ago? Which sounds reasonable, but at the same time, even he can't hide from the fact that this thing was a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah, but it sounds like he wants to do new things, and he doesn't want to get back into movies because of old things.
Well, I get that.
I kind of understand that. I kind of feel where he's coming from, actually.
But by that same token, I wish he would just kind of relent to the idea that people want to see him in these roles, and not just for the fact of, oh, you were the funny guy in the glasses and the pot on your head. No, it's not that. It's that people actually liked his work and would like to support him in new things, even if it was just a callback to an older role.
Yeah, I get that. Still.
Yes.
He should do new things.
Okay, so on to DC television movie news. So we have... television movie, funny. Well, we'll talk about... We'll start with the TV. over on the Flash end of things on TV, we got our first look with a promo this week at Zoom, the big bad for the series, and I think I gave you the picture of that.
For what, Daredevil?
No, Zoom.
No, you didn't give me anything for Zoom.
Did I not? Okay.
No.
Well, Zoom is there, and they've been touting him for a while as he's going to be the big, overarching bad for Season 2 of The Flash. And with this first look at him, yes, he's got a very dark blue color scheme to him, kind of a, like, melty face mask sort of thing, and electric eyes. Not exactly the same as the smaller eyes you saw in the Reverse Flash in this last season, but more like taking up the entire eye hole. You know, they said they were trying to make him look more organic, more scary, and I think they've actually managed to accomplish that. Now, on the movie end of Flash things, it's more or less confirmed right now that Seth Grahame-Smith, who, of course, helped pen and write for Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, is also going to write and direct the Flash movie. Now, that I feel better about because, you know, if you've ever read the book or if you've ever seen the movie, there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor there in Abraham Lincoln.
In Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Well, yes. Really, it's the movie. The movie and the book are so ridiculously separate from one another.
But he did supervise on the movie.
Yeah, I get that, but realize the movie is so wildly, outlandishly action-packed in comparison to the book, yeah. Way different direction in some situations, you know.
I have to admit that, yeah. But at the same time, both were very enjoyable.
They're funny.
Yes, and a little bit of humor is nice when you're considering The Flash. Now, we go from that DC movie news to the rest of the DC movie news you know we're going to talk about every week in our favorite segment. Not quite Justice League. Oh yeah, you done.
You know it's there.
You know it's there. We're going to talk about it every week. So, of course, again, New York Comic Con going on right now. We've got some interesting news coming out of that, specifically relating to the movie, such as viral marketing. So right now, over at New York City Comic Con, I'm assuming if you're watching this, you're not there.
More than likely.
The Wi-Fi for the event is being provided by LexCorp. So nice little...
That's frightening.
Yeah, that's a little frightening. Some people are reporting small problems with it, but nothing major. There's also a viral website online right now, as well as a little blurb advertisement for LexCorp. And then Fortune magazine put out an interview with Lex Luthor about where the company's going, where they're going with their products. And two things of notability come out. One being, they almost, without saying outright, he has kryptonite, reference that he has kryptonite.
Okay, yeah.
That's one thing.
So we know that's gonna be a thing.
I mean, we've seen the kryptonite in the trailer.
Yeah,
it's there.
It's there. We know.
And the other interesting thing that I hold on to is that there's reference to Cord Industries, which also the Flash TV show does. And for anybody who is up on their comic lore, Cord Industries, of course, belongs to Ted Cord, the Blue Beetle. And there's been rumors, of course, going around that they're thinking about turning the Blue Beetle and, by proxy, Booster Gold into a movie...
Booster Gold, yes!
...franchise or some such.
But they would have to, like, not suck at all their really big names first.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing.
That's the problem. They have to not suck at everything else first.
And the other bit of information coming out is there was a little video released by DC's official YouTube page showing promotional art for the movie relating to, of course, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, with one slightly new, but we've kind of already seen it, Batman vs. Superman Batman design. I don't know if you have that picture loaded. Is it that one?
Oh my
yeah,
god,
that's
where
it.
we go?
So this is a more clear shot of the Batsuit with better coloring. I don't know if you guys can see there. They definitely said they wanted Batman to, of course, be more towering in comparison to Superman for the movie. So he's got a very bulky appearance, just like The Dark Knight Rises, like we kind of already figured. I'm still kind of on the fence about it, but they did confirm that thanks to some sort of technological engineering, the cowl is in fact capable of rotating his head one way or the other.
They were really proud of that.
Yeah, and most bat suits that can do that are proud of that, because notoriously, going back to the Michael Keaton cowl, you know, he always had to, you know, turn his whole body to look.
Body, yeah.
But, we at least have that information coming out. Hopefully we'll have a little more information next week once New York Comic Con is over.
Yes.
Now we turn to the Marvel side of things. Okay, so we got some promotional art for Daredevil for Season 2 coming out, and what we have here is art that apparently you can get there at New York City Comic Con. A nice rendition of the costume that, of course, you end up seeing at the end of the run, but now with a completely, seemingly red outfit, not just red and black.
Let's move this over in here.
Yeah, I like it, honestly.
Well, it's art, so I have to trust that it's going to be good.
Well, see, the thing about it from before is that we had the art from Frank Miller for the first season, and that, of course, confirmed the black, quote-unquote, ninja outfit that he was wearing, and that was, of course, screen accurate. This lends itself, since it's still also Frank Miller art, so this would make me believe that's what we're going to end up seeing him in for the duration of the series.
I hope so.
And now, of course, since the red suit isn't a problem, I'm more than happy to believe in it. On the other side of the series that will eventually amount to the Defenders, we've had several little videos come out for Jessica Jones. Of course, the entire cast will be there this weekend at the convention, but we've got little bits of Jessica Jones around New York, and now today, not footage, but at least voice clips of David Tennant as the Purple Man, using his British accent since he's natively Scottish, talking about how he knows everything that's going on, definitely showing that he's a villain who's very in the know as far as it relates to Jessica Jones. As well, let's go ahead and talk about other movie stuff. Well, actually not movie stuff, it's television this time. Star Wars.
Yes,
Star Wars.
Star Wars on TV.
Yes, Star Wars on TV. So we've had a lot of information come out about Rebels. Star Wars Rebels Season 2 is set to premiere this month.
That whole big old trailer just launched.
Yes, the nice, good, meaty amount of information. You were a little worried that they gave us too much information.
Possibly. I mean, I know we're not feeling any sort of character development between them. As far as this trailer is concerned, not really. So there's still plenty to look forward to.
Well, yeah, there's definitely a lot to look forward to. We now have Sarah Michelle Gellar joining the cast as a female Inquisitor. We have a look at what apparently seems to be the creation of the B-Wings, which, that I like that.
That's kind of hardcore.
I like the B-Wings.
Yeah, I like that. I like that it seems that even Darth Vader's role is kind of beefy in this season, it would seem, which means... Man, you got James Earl Jones to, regularly do a TV thing? Because that's him, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely
James Earl
Jones. And I like the fact that he's there. It makes it feel more like something akin to Episode 4, because he's there in such a prominent role, just being the Empire's enforcer.
Yes.
And, the way that he's just this unstoppable force that they have to deal with, Ezra... And Caden, they're still, rearing back from we still don't want to mess with this guy. He's like the boogeyman.
Yeah.
So it's nice seeing that they're going in that direction for this season. Very much looking forward to that. We also have information on The Incredibles 2. The sequel does have...
Oh, so we do have more info. It is a real thing that really is going to exist.
Now, the unfortunate part is how long all of us are going to have to wait, which is until June 21st, 2019.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be 33.
33, 34-ish, yeah.
A
lot of people are gonna be in their late 20s, early 30s by this point.
Excuse me while I go roll over and die, because I'll just be dead. I'll be so old.
Now, the unfortunate part about that is that a lot of other Disney movies, like Toy Story or the Finding Nemo sequel, got much earlier release dates, say, a year, 2 years from now.
Boo!
Or Cars.
Boo!
Yeah, that's a thing, unfortunately.
Why? Why do they keep doing that? Why delay the one that actually deserved a sequel?
I know, right? In... Of course, Pacific Rim Watch news, I guess we kind of accidentally coined that. Guillermo del Toro went on record as saying he met with Game of Thrones actress Maisie Williams just recently and said, should we make this movie, that girl is getting a Jaeger. To which the internet was like, yes, please fund it now. Why can't we have this young little awesome girl? Well, she's not that young. She's 18 now.
Because they keep, shafting his scripts and stuff.
Now the thing is, what worries me is every time the stories mention Pacific Rim, now they're all starting to use that word that makes me very nervous. If the movie gets made, if things go forward, and I like things that sound more definite.
I do too, especially when it's concerning Pacific Rim.
Yes, and as we told you guys, we're keeping you abreast of all the upcoming developments, and this is the current one that he has plans to include Macy Williams and, you know, a young girl piloting a robot. Like, pff, yeah, I'll pay for that right now.
That would be nice.
Right now. Really.
Is that it?
No, there's one more little piece of news. Last piece, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it's in reference to, of course, Crunchyroll and the amazing job they've been doing with putting Tokusatsu out legally for
specifically
people.
Out of Tsubaraya putting out all this Ultraman. They've been doing a fantastic job releasing just tons and tons of Ultraman and simulcasting Ultraman X.
Yes.
You know, they've been doing a great job.
Now, currently, off Twitter, Deb Aoki, who is...
She's a manga artist, like an English original language manga artist. I'm not too sure of her body of works, but she also works, I believe, with Oni Press. Don't quote me on that.
But yes, the thing she put on Twitter today, which is very important, and I quote, "You want more Tokusatsu shows on Crunchyroll like Kamen Rider? Watch Ultraman so we can make a case for it."
She has it in quotes, which makes me think that that's coming out of Crunchyroll themselves, that she's kind of quoting Crunchyroll.
Well, because by this point, Crunchyroll would have noticed an uptick in numbers of people watching all of the Ultraman that's been loaded to the site. And like we've been saying before, we are very much advocates of trying to get legal options for people to watch Tokusatsu over here in the States. So, by all means, if you guys haven't watched Ultraman X, or if you've got the little bit of scratch that it takes to have what is the premium pass there for Crunchyroll, please do so at your next earliest convenience. Support legal Tokusatsu over here. We want you guys to be able to have the opportunities that fans maybe one generation ago didn't have, and be able to see that stuff for yourself.
Exactly.
Widely available that
Especially when just last week we were talking about Toei launching their streaming app for themselves over in Japan. Wouldn't that be great to have something equivalent legally for an English-speaking audience?
See, if they could go to Toei and be like, hey, look at Tsubaraya's numbers, this is nothing to scoff at, maybe they'll finally get off their butts and be like, well, we'll consider it. Which is, you know, better than we could hope for right now. But yes, that's the last bit of follow-up news. We can actually get into real stories starting now.
Alright, fantastic. So, I'm gonna get started with, this. Oh my god! Jeez, why? Well, what you're looking at is some art by Ralph Bakshi. Excuse me a moment while I just.
Okay.
So this is Ralph by Art Bakshi. Art by Ralph Bakshi, that's for this new animated short that he will soon be releasing, called Last Days of Coney Island. And this is, I've been really looking forward to this. This has been a really big deal. He's been really excited about it for years now. This animated short was originally funded back in 2013, back in March of 2013, so it's been well over 2 years. And then there was a small period of time in 2014 where he didn't give any updates, nobody really knew what was going on. He only raised $174,000, but it was enough to fund it, enough to fund an animated short. But isn't that kind of sad to think about, though, that somebody who was like a pioneer of some form of American animation these days, you know, still working with traditional animation, can only raise $174,000, whereas some of these other video game crowdfunding campaigns we've seen have raised millions upon millions of dollars. I know they're two completely different kinds of mediums, but it's like, Ralph Bakshi isn't a small name. No, by no means. He made history. You know, he made the first X-rated cartoon. I mean, think what you will of what that statistic is, but it's still history. Guinness World Book history, in fact.
Well, on top of that, aside from Fritz the Cat, you know, you look at the massive amount of the massive
his body of work.
Yeah, especially the prolific stuff throughout the 80s. Of course, Secret of NIMH.
Oh, he didn't do Secret of NIMH.
That wasn't him?
No, that was Don Bluth. No, you're thinking like Lord of the Rings.
No, that's right. Yeah, I always get those two mixed up because you talked about both.
Yes.
That's right. But yes, the Lord of the Rings movie, I remember watching those on Disney as a kid, back when they would show that stuff, the old Lord of the Rings, Hobbit stuff. And the thing is, you know, his work inspired people to want to animate.
Yeah.
And as such, you know, that's the reason why people showed up to, you remember, what was it, 2 years ago at this point, when we went to go see him, when he was doing that tour around of his movies, and we were lucky enough to go to the American Tail one.
Yes.
And, you know, everybody there was very aware of his work, very thankful.
I mean, that's Don Bluth.
Am I getting them mixed up again?
You keep talking about Don Bluth and not Ralph Bakshi.
Okay, then you're going to have to help me here, because I'm getting confused.
No, their kind of animation is completely and utterly different from one another. We're talking about someone who animated Fritz the Cat, Heavy Traffic, Coonskin, Wizard, Lord of the Rings, American Pop, Fire and Ice. Their animation looks nothing alike.
Absolutely. I would just like to go on record and say I'm confusing them because of you.
I didn't do
that.
This.
That's not. No, I'm not
fault.
blaming you. It's just that you talk about both in front of me, and then I confused the two. That's on me. That's on me.
Okay, because you're making this difficult. I need you to know.
My bad.
You're making this difficult. But no, still working with traditional animation. That's the part that really intrigues me, and thus, of course, it would take 2 years to complete what is only 22 minutes. So he's going to be launching this on October 29th, which in fact is Ralph Bakshi's 77th birthday. So he's really excited about it because it's his own birthday present to himself, kind of, and to everybody else. But he's launching it on Vimeo. Vimeo on demand, so you're gonna have to pay for it. I'm not sure whether it's rental or purchase or a combination of the two, but money will be exchanged for this 22-minute movie, which I will absolutely be doing right away.
So then it kind of goes without saying that you'll probably want to review this thing?
Oh, it's eventually going to happen because I still have to go through all the rest of my Ralph Bakshi retrospective, especially now that, like I said, the layoff thing, that's going to help me actually finish going through his body of work. So now I'll have that kind of time.
Yes, you can climb the highest mountains and sing the kind of songs you'd like to sing.
Here we go. Actually, here's
oh, it's only going to be $5.
$5 a rental.
$5 is nothing.
But it's a rental. You know, you can spend only $3 to rent something off of Amazon. In SD, mind you.
Give or take. You know, that's not every movie on Amazon.
Exactly. But he's, you know, he hasn't done anything in a good 18 years. Last thing he worked on at all really was something called Spicy City, which was released in 1997. And past that, he's just been working on art. So, for him to return to animation, what one might guess was probably going to be one of his last pieces of animation.
Well, because, you know, 77, that's not exactly spring chicken age.
No, it really isn't. So
that's well into retirement.
Exactly. Well, beyond retirement, I would imagine. But good on him for actually getting it completed. People were getting concerned because they weren't hearing anything about it for a while after they'd contributed. But now, here it is. It's coming just in a couple more weeks. So, yes, very excited. Awesome. And that's about all I have to say about that.
If I try to add on to this, I'm just going to accidentally reference...
You're going to accidentally talk about Don Bluth instead, and please don't do that.
Alright, I'm not going to do that.
Just don't do that.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay, so what are we going to do instead?
Well, you've got video of this next one.
Okay, awesome. It's this.
Gamera! Gamera!
I don't think that's how it goes.
Yeah, that's absolutely how it goes. That's the theme to Gamera. Gamera! What?
Spam, 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 spam. Now I'm doing MST3K stuff.
Yeah,
where they talked about Gamera movies with children who were constantly asking for bottles of Coke.
Yeah, because that's how.
But this is not nearly that lighthearted.
No, this isn't your kid's Gamera by any means.
This isn't your great grandparents' Gamera, because Gamera's an old thing. You know what?
Specifically, the reason this is coming out is because Gamera is now celebrating its 50th anniversary, which is nice. 50 years.
Congratulations, Gamera! You made it this far.
Yes.
Keep going.
Yes.
And in fact, they are gonna keep going, because look at this trailer, which got me kind of freaked out, because you know, Gamera and really the Tokusatsu genre as a whole in Japan really loves their standard rubber suits and practical effects and miniatures and stuff like that. And this, to me, looks like, oh my god, the exploding eyeball.
Yeah, okay, so a couple of things to hit on in order. First off, what's very obvious from this nice long 4-minute trailer is that all of the monsters and Gamera himself are CG and not practical effects this time around. And as you were saying, you know, up to this point with the last Gamera trilogy, which of course you can get now widely available at Walmart.
Yes.
For a very reasonable price, and I highly suggest you do. Yeah, they've gone full CG on him. And, you know, we were even talking about how Japanese fans responded to
our Godzilla.
Yeah, the Legendary Pictures Godzilla, that they thought they just couldn't sense the realism in it because he was completely CG. Well, now it appears that Japan themselves are doing the same thing.
Yeah, this looks very much like what America would have done to Gamera.
Yes.
And it's like, it's so extreme. It freaks me out. Like, there's so much, like, eyes popping out of sockets and things just get blown away and
melted. Well, the thing is, it looks awesome. That's what I'm seeing.
Well,
right? I'll get a little out of the way. That way you guys can see.
Well, there's not much to see.
Well, maybe not at this point, but that's Gamera right there.
That's big old ugly
Gamera?
CG turtle thing.
And, you know, Gamera's had a prolific amount of work comparable to Godzilla by this point. And I guess they took a cue from the Legendary Pictures release and thought, you know what, maybe we can do this all CG route and make it work.
Yeah.
Because the thing about it is there's a difference between, you know, Legendary Pictures doing it and then, you know, the Japanese company doing it. And they seem to have a better grip on the tone. Because, you know, as opposed to, say, all of the Godzilla footage that we got for the Legendary Pictures one, all of that was very much banking on we can't give you a straight look at Godzilla. In fact, that was kind of the marketing campaign for both that one and the 98 one. Here it's like...
we've got, like, full frontal Gamera.
Full frontal... Hashtag full frontal Gamera.
I just came up with that just now.
I love it. Full frontal Gamera.
Full frontal Gamera.
And what you see here is, you know, a boy and his father. You can see the father, he just got ate.
He got ate.
And these
and that
monsters,
kid will never get the ramen and all of the gameplay he wants that his dad was promising him for running very quickly away from monsters.
Yes, and these monsters, you know, they're kind of Monster Hunter looking, but you know that's not really the biggest problem.
Oh gosh, it said the name of the monster on screen. I'm not as big.
Gyarados, I think, is what they called them.
Yeah, they're traditional Gamera monsters. I'm not as well brushed up on Gamera as I am the Toho franchise.
That just means
monsters.
we need to do a marathon.
Yeah, it does actually, and I'm pretty sure that surely some Gamera stuff is on Netflix. Maybe not all.
Oh, yeah, there's the eye popping out right there. So, you know, these monsters are attacking Tokyo apparently 10 years into the past, however long that is from whatever the present is in the movie. And here's Gamera showing up, and he's just shutting it down.
Yeah.
You know, he stomps on this giant Gyarados, you know, popping its eye out of its socket, which is not usually something you stick in a trailer.
I was trying to think whether it was Gyarados or Gyaos. Maybe it is.
Well, either way, here comes, you know, the big hit attack. You might want to duck.
And
yeah, he's winding up for it.
And this takes a little while because you see this big old onslaught of these other monsters, and he takes them all out in one single breath.
Yeah, here comes right here. Ready? Wait for it. Wait for it, and boom! And then look at this right here.
God.
Dude!
Like, this freaks me out that Gamera is capable of this. It's cool, but it freaks me out.
I love it. Like, this is the kind of action I want. This is what I'm expecting from friggin' Pacific Rim. You know, it was nice seeing, you know, all the nice, awesome bits of, you know, in specific when Gypsy Danger's like, hey, wait, let's check for a pulse. Pop, 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 pop. And you see all the neon blood spilling out of the kaiju. Like, that's the kind of stuff that it viscerally makes you like, yeah!
This is why I'm comparing it to a Hollywood movie, because Hollywood would go...
for that kind of a money shot.
Yeah, like, that's a money shot in a trailer. That's ridiculous.
See, yeah, that's the thing that worries me, because were this a Hollywood movie, if you got the money shot there in the trailer, that's as good as it's gonna get.
So tell me more about what is it that we know about this movie, exactly?
Well, what we do know is that it's being directed by Katsuhito Ishii, and he doesn't have the largest body of work, but he's done a little bit of work. He worked with Production IG on the animated sequences in Kill Bill Volume 1. You know, the backstory there. He also worked on the anime movie Redline.
Yeah, okay.
You know, so he's clearly got an eye for what action looks like.
Right.
And, you know, judging by this trailer, he's hitting the nail on the head for what Gamera, what a kaiju movie should be.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a solid release date just yet. But they are announcing it right now since it's, you know, the 50th anniversary out there. They had a panel there at New York Comic Con, and this is the footage that got released as a result.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at this, and we're wondering, well, you know, you think of how Gamera's viewed over here, you know, with all the MST3K... Yeah, I said that right.
Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Specials with Gamera in them, you know, it's kind of a joke there, but if you watch the later movies, it's like, no, this is pretty hardcore, this is pretty cool.
Yes.
And now, you know, they're looking to take it to the next level, and I don't doubt for a second that this isn't meant to compete with Shin Godzilla, as far as, you know... Of
course, because they're two different companies.
Yeah, they're two different companies, but it's also a different look at the Japanese war on who gets the title of King of the Monsters, because, yeah, traditionally that goes to Godzilla, but Gamera is here, and he's obviously not messing around.
Yeah.
He's ready to throw down.
He's taking it pretty seriously, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, I wouldn't doubt this would get domestic release over here, you know, subtitled, of course, and then we'd get it.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, this is more akin, like you said, to a Hollywood movie, and I wonder if that's not... There's not a pressure now from studios to move in that direction. To
make bank like Hollywood?
Yeah, like, well, if we're going to make
Hollywood... To produce like Hollywood, so it'll make money like Hollywood.
Exactly. Because the thing about it is, and we've kind of discussed this before, the film industry over there isn't nearly as prolific as it is here in America.
Right.
You know, you ask anybody... Entertainment is one of our chief exports now.
Right, and realize, too, you know, we consume movies higher than any other country does, followed then by China, and then followed by Japan. And that just makes sense based on population, but...
Right.
So realize, I mean, Japan is no slouch when it comes to going to the movies either, but they also absorb lots of our movies, and so they see the kind of imagery we produce, thus it does make sense that they would want to emulate what it is that we produce.
Now when you look at it, though, like I said, I definitely believe there's cause for making a correlation between this and Shin Godzilla, because you look at the last Gamera movie, Gamera the Brave, that's been out almost 10 years ago. That was back in 2006.
Right.
Same thing that they were planning with Shin Godzilla. We're not going to make another Godzilla movie until it's waited 10 years, you know, let it cool down. It's almost the exact same line of thinking.
Mindset, yeah.
So, yeah, I totally believe that they're going to be competing with one another.
I agree.
And admittedly, yeah, they were the first to come out with their trailer, proof of concept, whatever you want to call this thing. And of course,
we don't know whether it's actually a trailer or if it is, in fact, a proof of concept.
Well, no, they're saying they want... They're hoping for a release date within the next year, at 2016 at the earliest.
Oh, so this is more than just a proof of concept.
Well, yeah, I say that because this is a lot longer than a normal trailer you would get.
Yeah.
Like, when I first saw this, I was remiss to believe, like, oh, this can't be a promo for a movie. Like, you remember a couple of weeks ago, or even a month ago at this point, there was that cool,
Ultraman one?
Yeah, that Ultraman one, which that was a proof of concept.
Yeah, that one I figured was a proof of concept.
You know, for showing what a more modern look of classic Ultraman, how that would do now. But that, of course, was a proof of concept, and that's not going anywhere. This is a very long, meaty trailer in comparison to most other things. Because, you know, your average teaser trailer, that's like 1.5 minutes to about 2.5 minutes. This is a full 4 minutes. Like, this is more than I asked for. This is like, I paid $3 for lunch, and you gave me a $9 lunch.
I didn't even ask for this, and they just gave it to me for free.
Oh, hey, you want this? Yeah, have it.
Oh, I didn't know I wanted it, but now I do! So,
exactly.
So, good job, Gamera. You've succeeded, I think.
I think it's succeeded because, you know, you look at this, and usually when you're this forthcoming... Yaos, that's what they're called.
That's what I thought, Yaos.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you're this forthcoming with footage and such a massive, almost, kind of extreme way, fans are going to want to respond to that and see more of it, because I'll say it right now, the kaiju fan in me is salivating looking at this.
Yes.
Like, this is everything this is the kind of action I wish we'd gotten out of this legendary Godzilla movie.
I know, right? All we get is watching these dudes walk around and hopefully not piss things off.
And 8 minutes of Godzilla in the whole movie.
But then again, you go back and you think about it, how different was that from much older Godzilla movies anyway? Really?
Well, yeah, but by that same token, you know what you went... Yeah, times have changed, and you can't just get away with that because of the restrictions of what you're capable of filming as far as effects are concerned, because this is full CG. You don't have that excuse. The same thing goes for Legendary. They went full CG with their stuff. They didn't have that excuse. And here, like, think about it. This is a 3-minute-long trailer with monsters throughout all of it. That's almost half the amount of monster time in the Godzilla movie in one trailer.
Oh, that's true. Wow.
Look at that right there.
Oh, that's
Process
sad. That is so sad. Full frontal Gamera.
Full frontal Gamera. Somebody run with that, please.
Full frontal Gamera.
Because he's got that chest beam thing.
Man, I just hope that we get to see him rocket boosting and spinning in a circle. And
I love it when he does that.
I think most people just think it's funny, but don't think he should have actually done that.
I think it's awesome.
I think it's awesome. In any case, yay Gamera! I hope we see more very, very soon. I hope it does come out next year. That would be amazing.
That would be amazing. This is already amazing.
Yes.
If you haven't had the chance, it's on YouTube. Go look it up.
Yes.
Look at that.
That's okay. I'm good.
He's just like raw with the fire.
Raw with
it hurt.
Fire. It hurt. So, but what you're looking at here, I don't need to speak louder as if you can't hear me through the picture.
That's funny that you thought you had to speak up.
I didn't think I had to. I was just very upset. So, well, what you're looking at here is the original flyer invitation for, if it's not obvious, I changed topics now. It's the flyer invitation for what was supposed to be a Pokemon-themed fan party. As you can kind of read up here, it's the 5th annual unofficial,
keyword being unofficial,
Pokemon PAX kickoff party. So a dude sold, I think it was 200 tickets to this at $2 a pop, so he made like $400. And to say he made $400 is kind of stretching it, because it was to cover the venue, which I think was either a bar or a some sort of food and drink venue, and he hired a DJ, and he'd been doing this, as you can see, for 5 years, and he oftentimes was in the hole afterwards, because he was just doing it for the hell of it, because he loved Pokemon, and he wanted people to hang out and do stuff together. Well, it turned out the Pokemon company wasn't thrilled with it, because, like, you're using Pikachu, and then down here through Josh, he's using Snivy.
Can you see Snivy through? You can see Snivy through me, because I'm a ghost.
Because he's a ghost. And in other pieces of, in other pieces of media that the dude put out, he's using officially licensed Pokemon imagery, and the Pokemon company was like, no. So what they did was threaten to sue him before this actually got off the ground. And so he's like, whoa, okay. We'll just cancel it, and he refunded everybody their money, right?
But the Pokemon Company wasn't having that, like, yeah, we know you gave everybody back their money, but that's not the point. We want money.
Yeah, so the guy whose name is Larkin Jones, who was hosting this party before PAX ever even started, turns out that, yeah, the Pokemon Company still wanted something out of him, and so they
wanted 4,000 somethings out of him.
Well, yeah, they were proceeding with this lawsuit, but he got a lawyer, and they managed to work out, okay, we're gonna settle for $4,000, and that's still pretty friggin' steep when you consider he maybe, if he pocketed that money that he sold those tickets off of, he may be making $400.
So 100 times what he got, that's what they're charging him.
Yeah.
That's kind of ridiculous.
Then he said, okay, well, can I pay it over the course of a year? Like, I work at, where does he say he worked at?
In a cafe.
In a cafe. So he doesn't exactly make a whole lot of money, and they're like, nope, it's got to be within the next 45 days. And he's like, well, damn. So then he starts a GoFundMe campaign. And it was successful. It got a little over the $4,000 that he was asking for.
Not by much, just $4,148.
Yeah, very modest. And he just explains his circumstances here. As it turns out, as an update to this story, as of just a couple of days ago, the Pokemon Company is now further pissed because of the negative press this has generated. Perhaps they interpreted this GoFundMe campaign and his description of the situation as him trash-talking them.
Yes, and so now they've rescinded the offer to settle outside of
court.
Outside of legal action, yes.
At $4,000, so they can't do that anymore, and now they're going to proceed with the lawsuit, like the full-fledged, hit-him-in-the-ass kind of lawsuit.
And the thing about that is, when you're coming at a giant corporation like the Pokemon Company, they can get you for way more than you're capable of fronting up. Quite obviously, with the initial hit of $4,000, a lawsuit can drain you for a lot more than that just in legal fees alone, much less what you're actually having to pay once the judge rules on it. Mm-hmm. And really, I can't see this as anything more than a form of bullying beyond a certain point, because yeah, it's like, alright, fine. I would have been in the same position. I fess up. I used licensed pictures and phrasing to have a party. My bad.
And he says, believe me, I'll never do that again. You know, surely being threatened with lawyers is enough to freak you the hell out into not ever doing it again.
Yeah, because as soon as you say the word lawyer, most people are like, alright, I'm down, I'm good, don't sue.
Yeah.
And yet they're still like, no, we're gonna sue.
Which, okay, let's be fair. The Pokemon Company is within their full legal rights to do exactly what it is they're doing. That is true.
That is true.
But is this much reasonable?
No.
No.
Like, you say, is it within their legal rights? Yes, yeah, we are admitting to that.
Because, yeah, he used...
I recognize the cancel's decision, but seeing as it's a stupid-ass decision, I've elected to ignore it.
Yeah, because, let's face it, he used the name Pokemon, and he used, copyrighted imagery. Like, this isn't just fan-created imagery, which is its own legal mumbo-jumbo, by the way, because technically the Pokemon Company, has legal rights to the distribution and the creation of even fan-generated Pokemon works. But he didn't even do that. He used stuff that already pre-existed and was created by the Pokemon Company. And then he charged money for it, and there was going to be alcohol at the event, which possibly was going to tarnish their image, I guess, because they want it to be very child-friendly. But realize all over all of the everything, it says unofficial, so, like, I don't know how anybody can mistake it.
Yeah, like, I don't understand how they would interpret that as interfering with their bottom line. Because you think about it, the way they did it is very douchey no matter what part of it you're looking at. Like, for one, they hit him with this the day before the event.
Yeah.
The day, like, that's some Ghostbusters 1 Walter Peck shut this all down.
Yes.
Douchebaggery, you know, to say, oh, you're about to have this nice party. Yeah, no. You have to give the money back? I have to give the money back? Is that gonna... Yeah, no. $4,000, please. Oh, can I pay that back over time? No, we want that in 45 days. Okay, I got the money. Can I give it to you? No, we're gonna sue you. Like, what part of that doesn't make the Pokemon Company look really, really bad?
Well, on top of that, think about it. This guy, he can't even pay the $4,000. What makes them think that, like, are they really just trying to make an example out of this guy? Is that what this is for? This is about making, like, crucifying somebody in the public eye to terrify absolutely everybody else away from doing
that goes back
similar?
To the old ways of friggin' people using Napster and making an example of some kid who is downloading music. Like, that doesn't stop everybody else.
Yeah.
That just makes you look bad for going after a kid because we know you're just trying to make an example out of somebody. And in a case like that, just like with this, he asked for the money, people helped him, saw, hey, this is a stupid situation you're in, yeah, here's $10. Enough people do that, he's got the money. But, see, that seems, again, douchey because he got the money. They see he got the money because they can obviously see he's got a GoFundMe. That's public information. And they're like, okay, he got the money. Like, we could take the money, but then we don't feel as powerful. How do we make ourselves feel better about ourselves as a company? We could not take the money and then sue him.
For more
money. Yeah, let's do that. Like, why would you even do that?
Out of a guy who obviously does not have that money.
Yeah.
And what's he gonna do? Another GoFundMe for more money to pay for this lawsuit?
Like, what does he do now? Does he give back the GoFundMe money?
Well, right now, I assume he's holding on to it just at least temporarily because his lawyer is trying to talk to the Pokemon Company and put that offer back on the table.
Right.
That's as much as we've heard within these last couple of days, so who knows?
Now to be fair to anybody in the chat, this isn't Nintendo doing this. This is the Pokemon Company International. They're their own...
Which is in association with Nintendo.
In association with the Nintendo, but they're their own separate legal entity.
Yes. We went to the Pokemon stores in Tokyo and stuff.
And those aren't run by Nintendo.
No, they have Nintendo licensed products in their store. However, the Pokemon Company themselves, like the anime has nothing to do with Nintendo, for example, you know. So realize that Pokemon is a franchise that they choose to license to whoever the hell they choose to license to.
Because you look at this, look at everything that's been done. This is the Pokemon Company International. Nintendo, even though, you know, they work together in a, you know, kind of symbiotic relationship, this whole time Nintendo's been like, I'm staying the hell out of this. I didn't have nothing to do with it. I'm just here to sell games. And then this guy over here, he's just trying to throw a party, and he's the epitome now of, look, I just came here to have a good time, and I'm feeling really attacked right now.
He's the embodiment of Tumblr.
Unfortunately, well, the better, funnier, I mean, there's nothing funny about this, I'm just saying, yeah, this sucks, bro, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, I am sorry for this, because, like, I think he would have learned his lesson the first time if they just said, hey, don't do it, or else we might sue. He probably would be like, oh, I don't want to get on anybody's bad side ever again. And he probably would have learned his lesson because, yeah, again, it was kind of an illegal-ish thing to do. But at the same time, I'm sure tons of people would make that. We can go down the street right now and go buy an unofficially licensed Power Rangers piñata.
We can, yes.
Yeah, technically that is illegal. And that goes on all the time, all over this city and anywhere else around the world. I can't even, like, so much illegal copyrighted imagery crap happens absolutely everywhere.
Well, see, a piñata's a little different because you purposely don't make it look exactly like the character. Otherwise, yeah, that falls into copyright.
Yeah, but how many times have you also seen, like, Mickey Mouse painted on windows around town? Or I saw this one plumber truck with Mario.
We saw that one
on the side, and it's blatantly like most recent generation Mario, and I guarantee you they did not obtain licensing from Nintendo to be able to use Mario on the side of their plumber's van.
No, they didn't.
I promise you they did not.
But see, the thing about it is, again, if you're protecting your bottom line, you don't have to sue this guy. All you had to do is, like you said, threaten him, just kind of... And yeah, he would have backed down. You're like, yeah, I got punked, whatever, fine. Take the money. Don't sue me.
It didn't even need to go to the point of take the money. It just needed to be like, we're gonna ask you for money. Oh, you don't have it? Okay. Just don't do it again.
Yeah, because what good does this do the Pokemon Company? Were you that butthurt that you didn't get $400? Or your cut of $400, which would be less. Like, are you that upset about it? Really?
No, they're upset about the image that this would have tarnished.
Well,
I guarantee you that's what they were so pissed about, because there's gonna be alcohol and DJs and stuff at this party.
Yeah, but you look at the flip side of it, this is making them look worse.
I know. They're a company with their heads up their butts, and they don't know any better.
Yeah, Godfather style. I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse. And then I'm gonna refuse it for him. Like, what is that?
It's pretty crappy.
It's bad business is what you asked. If you ask me, that's what it is, bad business.
So I guess we're kind of running low on time. I actually managed to get more emotional about that than I expected.
Yeah.
But in any case, so if you're here with us live right now on YouTube, then thank you very much. I'm excited to keep talking with you guys for the next half an hour, because we're gonna cut this. For those of you who are not watching live, sorry, suckers. I'm sorry. No, you need to be coming down here on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Central so that we can continue to hang out with you and just talk with you for an additional 30 minutes and do Q&A and stuff afterwards. It's always fun.
Yes. But in the meantime, if you're not with us, you can always follow us during the week over on social media and Twitter. I'm at Josh Knight First.
And I'm at Mars Girl.
And that having been said, that's been this week's episode of Beyond the Black Rims. We'll see you guys next week.
Good night.